Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I have a card featuring Sweet November stamps. They are illustrated by Amy Young, and she's had stamps through different companies in the past, but now she has her own stamp company or website, and she sells digital stamps, but she also just released 2 clear stamps, and this is the Mermaid clear stamp set. I just adore her illustrations, her Facebook group, and so I really had to purchase the set and get coloring with it right away. Her Facebook group, she does live colorings, and she is amazingly talented, so I will leave you the link to that in the video description, as well as to the stamps, of course. So I wanted to show you a very simple Copic ocean background. Amy will, in her Facebook Lives, show you other much more amazing backgrounds, but backgrounds can be kind of intimidating. I don't color a ton of backgrounds, but I have done some really elaborate scenes, and it always is really fun and feels great, but it can be very time consuming. So today I want to show you a super quick one, and I think that showing you an ocean background is great. And I've done some, I think, on my channel before because there's just so many ocean images out there. You know, mermaids are so popular and different fish and etc. So I took a BG000 and I went back and forth left to right, and only want your strokes left to right for this because you really do want to have that sort of ocean effect. If you're going left and right and top and down and circle, it's too much. You really want to keep the look of that left to right. So I did that with my lightest marker, the BG000, and I even let my marker brush over her just a little bit so that there was some coloring up to the edge, but because it's such a light marker and I use such a light hand, when she's colored you won't see it. I am also going to add in some BG02 for those really dark spots, but then they are like really too contrasty, so I'm taking a B00 and blending them out. With my first marker, I kind of did a coat everywhere, but with the rest of my markers, I'm going to only, pick certain spots and highlight areas. So here I'm only adding the B00 where there already is the BG02, so that I blend those out and soften it. The key to this technique, in my opinion, is the flicking. You really want to be putting on some dark color and a little bit more pressure towards the edge, and then flick and pull your marker off so that the stroke ends in a very sort of light way. And that will help with the blending, that will help with the softness of the look. I'm also going to take some, and this is me blending it out with my lightest marker. This marker is a little dry, and that did make the blending harder. So I always recommend that you keep refills for your markers, especially if you've had them for a couple of months or years, because some people haven't refilled them in years. But if you use them regularly, you do want refills because it helps them to blend better. It's not just about, you can squeeze some more ink, but if you're not getting the blending you want, it could be because your marker's a little dry. So now I have a BG10, and that's just going to add in just a touch of like a mint green to make it a little bit more of a realistic ocean and just to give it some more depth. And I'm just going to flick that across. If that gets into the little girl, that's also going to be fine. It'll be covered up. It is another really light color. I would say keep the BG02 off of her though, because that's a much darker color to cover up. I'm a big fan of coloring the background first because of that, because you can get into the image a little bit and it's not such a big deal. Now the background is really my focus, so I'm going to speed things up quite a bit here. I'm going to be coloring her with a darker skin tone. I'm thinking maybe like a little Latina mermaid, and so I am using E18, 15, and 13 for her skin, and then I'll use E29, 25, and 23 for her hair, I believe. But I actually colored 3 little mermaids, all with different skin tones, and so in the video description, I'm just going to write out what the skin and hair combinations for each of them were in case you're interested. I'm going to do really simple coloring here, so the shadows are going to be on the edges of her, and the highlight will be in the center of her face and the center of her body. I'm going to add a little cast shadow from her hair, and on her arms for the shadows, I'm going to put the shadows at the bottom because the light source would be from the top, as it is the ocean, and so the sun, of course, is going to be at the top of the ocean. For the purple fin, this is my new favorite purple combination. I'm using BV080402. I had a really tough time getting any V's to blend in a way that I really loved or a tone, but I tried out these BVs recently and I've been really happy with that. So again, super simple coloring. I'm going to make the edges darker, and then at the fin I'm going to make the sort of the little two tail fins. I'm going to create the shadow to be where it attaches to the larger fin. And then I will add in some dots just for a little bit of texture, because if this is a mermaid tail, it's a fish tail, it would have some scales. And so this kind of gives a little bit of interest like that. And I'm just going to use the two darkest markers, BV08 and 04, and the dots that are darkest to the edges, and then lighten the dots as they come in. For the hair, when I color curly hair, I like to do an overall coat of the lightest color. Oh, my lightest color is E25. So I think I used E25, 27, and 29 for the hair. Slightly different than what I mentioned before. But again, I want to write all that in the video description so you don't have to pay attention. I'm going to flick in little hairs around her head, but then the bun, I want it to stay really like curly and messy. So instead of doing like the traditional flicks out, I'm going to do little C's. So just to look like little curls. So I'm going to do C's in both directions. And I'm going to do that with my darkest marker, then my mid-tone marker. And I don't think I even go in with my lightest marker because it already has that overall coat. To create the bubbles, I'm just taking a Copic 0 marker that pushes the color around, and I'm going to just make little dots, some bigger and some smaller, but all relatively small, all around the edges of the card. It's going to show up most in the darker areas, so I'm going to, use that to my advantage. And I make them in little sets of 2 and 3, just something like there's no real intention behind it except for that they're visible, and the little groupings will look better than just one random here and there. To give it a little bit of finish, this is actually one of the other little girls that I colored. I'm going to just mount it on some old Lawn Fawn Hearts paper, and then I'm going to add a little bit of sparkly glossy accents. They have a different name. I'll try to link it, but just a little bit of shimmer there. And that's it for my cards today. As mentioned, I will link the products in the video description, Amy Young's Facebook group, because she's amazingly talented, and I will list the Copic colors I used for their skin just in case you want to learn some new skin combinations. Also, feel free to share any skin combinations you really enjoy, because I'm always looking for new marker combinations that other people love. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day. Bye.